Season 2 of Euphoria has ended and it has left me with more questions than answers. I am both satisfied and dissatisfied with what I have been given. Season 2 was a trip, and not in the same way Season 1 was. There are remnants of the old season in things like the cinematography and humour, but overall this season has been a mess, and though I enjoyed it, I cannot say it's to the same extent of Season 1. Disappointment comes to mind when I sit back and thoroughly look at how this season played out. Disappointment with the plot and characters. It felt like we were fed drama and shocking scenes to facilitate for the lack of good writing and plot. But there was no bigger disappointment than how many of the characters were muddied or handled this season. It was like certain characters who were one way suddenly flipped and went 0 to 100, and characters who made frequent appearances in the show just disappeared. I don't know how to feel about this season, honestly. But, despite my lack of emotion towards Season 2 of Euphoria, I sure as hell have a lot to say. Perhaps even too much. I'm sorry if you see an influx of Euphoria videos on my channel in the coming weeks. I never intended to make more than one, but now I've realized there are so many things that need to be talked about. One of the things, or more appropriately one of the people I want to talk about, is Kat. Kat is the biggest failure of Season 2 in my opinion. She's a victim of Euphoria's bizarre writing choices. After Season 2, all I could think was, damn, Kat's really annoying. And this is coming from someone who likes Kat. She's my favourite character. In this season we saw the decline of her character. I refuse to believe that Season 2 Kat is the same as Season 1. But I digress. Today I'll be analysing or taking a closer look at Kat's character, pointing out the flaws in how she was written, but also highlighting the importance of her character being in the show. Kat Hernandez is a main character in the plethora of characters in Euphoria. Kat is a teenage girl who is funny, sarcastic, and has an all-around great personality. She also writes erotic fanfiction on Tumblr, and I must say, out of all the things I've seen on Euphoria related to teenagers doing drugs, engaging in sex, and going to parties, the fanfiction is probably one of the most realistic things we'll ever see on the show. In the first season, Kat experiences a drastic shift in her personality. We watch her go from being a shy girl who was never in the limelight to a self-assured badass who isn't afraid to take up space anymore. She stands up for herself and even gets a boyfriend. In the second season, Kat is... well, she's basically non-existent. Elliot's song gets more screen time than Kat does. And because of that, I'll be focusing more on her character in Season 1 rather than 2. But I may dabble here and there on her character in Season 2. I've mentioned and talked a lot about Kat's personality and what she's like, but I'm yet to mention the focal point of her character and what causes her the most turmoil in the show. And that is her body. Kat is a plus-size girl. She's bigger in comparison to her teenage counterparts like Maddy or BB, and it's the biggest point of her insecurity. Insecurity that has managed to grow and fester as she's gotten older, but it didn't just come from nowhere. The self-image issues started at a young age when her boyfriend dumped her after she returned from a holiday and had gained 20 pounds. She was rejected because the sudden change her body underwent, all of this happening only at the age of 11. Here she gets her first real taste that the world isn't as nice to plus-size girls. Another factor that is important to Kat's character is her sexuality and how she expresses it. Kat is a virgin, or was a virgin. In the beginning of Season 1, it's established that she's never had a sexual experience outside of fanfiction, but is open to trying it. Adding to her lack of experience, there is also the condescending reaction she receives from her peers because of her lack of sexual encounters. BB teases Kat for being a virgin, Jules tells her she needs to catch a dick, and there is also the scene from the pilot episode where she is surrounded by 3 boys who mock her because they think she is a prude. She tries to prove that she isn't uptight to the 3 boys, trying to show that she's had an experience despite what they may think. Trying to prove that she's had an experience is Kat's way of showing that she is desired, that she too can be sexy and fun, and even though she is a fat girl, she can flaunt her sexuality just like her slim counterparts. She wants to break away from preconceived notions that these boys have about her, and because of this pressure to prove herself, Kat eventually has sex with one of the boys at the party, in the same episode. It's her first time, and unfortunately a video was taken and shared around. And from that one video being shared around and the attention it garners, something is woken inside of Kat. After Kat's negative sexual experience, she rebirths as a different woman with a newfound confidence and a flair to life. She begins sex work anonymously and those around her finally take notice to her. She's finally liberated and all seems well. But it isn't. All is not well with Kat Hernandez. I must confess, I have a particular problem with Kat's glow up. Now, I don't have a problem with Kat adorning a new look or feeling empowered. I am in support of women dressing up to feel better. Many people find empowerment in looking the best they can. Grooming oneself is essential to a person's well-being. It is commonly believed that when you look good, you feel good. And in regards to Kat changing herself, I can't find a problem with that. My biggest gripe, however, is how a portion of that empowerment was tied to sex work. Now, before you rush to my comments, I need to make one thing clear. I am not saying that sex work is the problem. It's a completely valid facet of work, and it's one of the oldest industries of work. Sex work isn't the problem, it's who's doing it that is. A high school student who is also a minor should not be doing sex work. For one, it is illegal and just morally wrong, but it's also child porn. I often don't think we fully comprehend the implications that come with sex work. We don't take into consideration the long-lasting effects that it can have on people who aren't fully developed or who don't understand what they're getting into. Many times we see sex work from a glamorized point of view. We don't see the darker or shadier parts of the industry, or even the realistic parts. It boggled my mind when I saw some fans support Kat's decision or act like it was revolutionary. This is not the yas girl boss moment you think it is. Thankfully, not all fans of Euphoria are that brain dead. But my point still stands. A minor should not be getting their validation from the sexual gratification of men online. This validation is not a replacement for actual acceptance. And with that, I'd like to move to my other point.
Another way that fat phobia reappears in art and in life is sexual fetishization masked as empowerment. Now that I can relate to. I can relate to people noticing your demographics erasure in the world. So instead of actually seeing you and offering you the humanity that the world denies you on a daily basis, they jump straight into viewing you as a sexual object. They treat you as something to be consumed. And then they feel good about themselves for doing so. Because, I mean, hey, exploitative attention is better than no attention, right? Kat's confidence redemption came from having sexual encounters with losers.
Despite there being many issues surrounding the writing of Kat's character, I think she's the best and most realistic depiction of a teenager we'll ever get on Euphoria. I will never be able to relate to the over-dramatized struggles of these teenagers, and even the struggles that aren't dialed up to 100 I still can't relate to, because they're shrouded by trauma that I've never experienced. But you know what I have experienced? Body insecurity, shame for how much I weigh. I would like to tell you a quick story about me when I was a child. I was a fat girl up until the age of 13. In high school, I was surrounded by my thin and pretty friends who were all getting attention while I was pushed aside. And even though no one ever said anything to me explicitly about my weight, I could always feel the stares, the lingering gazes, the whispering in the corridor. And it made me feel shit. I'm slimmer now, but that's only due to my declining mental health in previous years and the medication I've taken. I don't know if I will stay slim for long, but honestly, I don't care if I do. But what I do know is, Kat is the first character I was able to connect with. Her scenes dredged up old feelings of self-doubt. She reminded me of what it was like to have the label of fat plastered onto you. A label you may try to veer away from, but can't because other people won't allow you to. Kat's character captures what it feels like to be uncomfortable in your own skin. Scenes where Kat is in her friendship group and is the outcast hold such relatability because they mirror turmoil I and many others have struggled with. But most of all, I love how that through the character of Kat we get the deconstruction of the fat friend trope, a trope that I vehemently despise. A scene in Euphoria that does this really well is the episode in season 1 where Cassie is confiding in her friends about her current relationship problems, when suddenly an argument breaks out between Kat and Maddy.
I don't want there to be something that's bad between us forever.
I wouldn't worry about it, Cassie. It's not like you guys are gonna be together forever.
Kat, what the fuck is your problem? You're being a bad friend now. You were a bad friend to me, and this whole new personality is seriously unlikable. World Star!
Why? Because I won't sit and listen to you bitch and moan about your psychotic, abusive boyfriend who you've literally broken up with 1,000 times?
It was literally the lowest point in my life, so yeah. That and the fact that you're just fucking mean.
Maddie, ever since I've met you, all you talk about is yourself, your clothes, your boyfriends, whatever superficial shit you think is so fucking important. Sorry, I'm no longer interested.
I don't know about everyone else, but I miss the old Kat. You know, the one who had a sense of humor and wasn't a fucking cunt?
Damn.
The two things I'd like to highlight here is when Kat says,
Maddie, ever since I've met you, all you talk about is yourself, your clothes, your boyfriends, whatever superficial shit you think is so fucking important. Sorry, I'm no longer interested.
A lengthy quote, but one that is very important. Kat is tired of being the shoulder to cry on. She's tired of being the confidant for everybody. She's tired of being the fat best friend. And when Maddy says, I miss the old Kat, it further proves this point. The moment Kat steps out of line and asserts herself, Maddy's response is to tell her that she misses how her friend used to act. But as we know, the old Kat was insecure. The old Kat was also going through things. But I suppose that doesn't matter to Maddy because the old Kat just happened to be the person she could rant to. I unapologetically love how Kat stands up for herself. It's one of the times that I felt Kat exuded true confidence. And yes, both sides behaved poorly, I can admit to that. Both Maddy and Kat hijacked a conversation that was meant to be about helping a friend. But this argument was a great way to show the dependency the group has on Kat, but aren't willing to reciprocate or even acknowledge. I love this scene because it confronts the fat best friend archetype head on. With the anticipation of season 3 of Euphoria, I'm left wondering, is there room for improvement for Kat's character? If we even get to see her, that is. I still have hope that her character will change greatly and there will be room for improvement. There are so many things regarding Kat's character that need to be addressed, and it would be a shame not to explore these things.